Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Becoming a young dragon and being picked up by Mushroom House, shocking the country. Chen Yao woke up to see himself being held in his arms by Zifeng's sister. Looking at the scales on his body, he thought he was a fish. I didn't expect that after the 6th season aired, it directly alarmed the security bureau. And Chen Yao finally saw his own appearance from the reflection of the seawater. Surprisingly, I am a symbol of the Yanhuang civilization, the 5-clawed golden dragon. Roar, roar. Chen Yao said that the national treasure panda is simply not worth looking at in front of him. This dragon is the true national treasure. The fruits and vegetables I eat must be fresh air freight from outside, and the entire island is my territory where I live. If you're unhappy, this dragon will go on a hunger strike. Unless Sister Zifeng holds me, the young master won't eat a bite. When I'm happy, I can summon wind and rain, and when I'm happy, I can also play with an aircraft carrier. Blue sea and sky, this dragon is the #1 in the world. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. The reborn me is an egg, 1, seeking freshness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Yao has hung up. He remembers clearly that he had already breathed his last breath. I never expected it. In a daze. I actually turned into some kind of animal. He tried hard to open his eyes, but unfortunately it was in vain, just feeling like he was in a dark place. Don't be any poultry or livestock. Chen Yao silently prayed in his heart. After all, poultry like chickens, ducks, and geese are basically destined to be brought to the table in the end. He doesn't want to become someone else's favorite food. It seems that the heavens heard his prayer. In a daze. He felt as if he had been picked up by someone. Hey, there's an egg here. The voice of Chen Yao was gentle and pleasant, as if it were a heavenly melody, which immediately made him feel happy. The speaker seems to be young, she is a girl. Chen Yao can only obtain so much information. Next second. He felt as if he had been lifted up in the air. Sister, what's wrong? At this moment, another voice came. What? What? Chen Yao was momentarily stunned. This voice is too recognizable, it's the voice of the famous host teacher he. Chen Yao enjoys watching his programs very much, so naturally he is very familiar with his voice. But what's going on here? Isn't he dead? Did it turn into an egg and be picked up by teacher he and his friends? Sister. Can't it be Sister Zifeng? Struggling hard, Chen Yao wanted to break through the eggshell, but unfortunately, despite his hard work, it was still in vain. It feels like it's moving. At this point, Sister Zifeng suddenly said, I can feel it. Huh, isn't it about to break through the shell? Teacher he joked with a smile. Huh, didn't you become his mother, Zifeng? At this point, another sound appeared. Chen Yao thought carefully and it seemed to be Peng Peng's voice. Oh my, brother. Sister Zifeng suddenly felt very shy and glared at Peng Peng, saying, I just think this egg is very cute. How about taking it back? It's also possible. Teacher he seemed to be discussing with someone, and after a moment, he said, that's it. Let's take it back and make a nest for it. Zifeng, take care of it and see what can hatch. I feel like a little chicken. Peng Peng said. Chicken, you're big. Have you ever seen an egg so big? I think it should be some kind of large animal. Yixing on the side said, otherwise, it wouldn't be so big. How about we take a photo and post it on Weibo? Teacher he thought for a moment and said. It's also possible. Peng Peng, Yixing, and others nodded one after another. Today is the first episode of the 6th season of Yearning. Because there have been issues with ratings and word-of-mouth in previous seasons, many people have criticized the program team for not doing things carefully. Therefore, this season, they boldly launched a live streaming mode. The purpose is also very simple, it is to win the hearts of the audience. I didn't expect it. Not long after the filming started, Zifeng's younger sister actually picked up an egg at the beach. At this moment, the barrage in the live broadcast room has already exploded. Sleeping slot. What is this thing? By the way, I'm a bit confused. This can't be some kind of pangolin or something. The ones in the sea, big brother, were picked up from the sea. Can it be a whale's egg? Is there any animal that lives in the sea? I really don't know about this. I don't know, I haven't heard of it before. Ha ha ha, is it possible? It's just the eggs and ducks in the village. It shouldn't be that big. Yeah, it can't be shark eggs, right? I remember sharks seem to lay eggs. Isn't this called Shark Pond Village? Sleeping trough, what you said makes sense. On the barrage, a group of spectators were discussing. They are really curious about what exactly this is. And Chen Yao, who was inside the egg, was actually equally curious. What kind of species are you? Can you say that? Is it really some kind of poultry? Or is it some kind of large organism? Just now, Zifeng's younger sister was someone who seemed to have said that she drifted over in the sea. Is it difficult to believe that one is the egg of some oviparous fish? Just thinking about this, Chen Yao felt a bit confused. P.S. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking rewards, seeking monthly ticket support. Guaranteed 5 changes, 2,000 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 10 monthly tickets plus 1 change, and a reward of 100 book coins plus 1 change. Please support everyone. Chapter 2. I want to be a protected animal. 2. Seeking freshness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In a daze, Chen Yao was carried back to the mushroom house. He knows. The person holding oneself is Sister Zifeng. Because along the way, there were people talking to Zifeng's sister non-stop. They are all curious about what animal is inside this eggshell. In no time, Chen Yao felt like he was placed somewhere. Hello, lie down well. This is the nest I made for you. Sister Zifeng squatted there and said to Chen Yao. Although she didn't know what animal was inside the eggshell, she always had a feeling that the little animal seemed to like her very much. She has made up her mind to adopt this little one as long as it doesn't hatch into a protected animal. Chen Yao was slightly excited as he listened to Zifeng's sister's words. He struggled to roll inside the shell, wanting to break free. But the eggshell was incredibly hard, just gently shaking it a few times. Oh, I'm not afraid. Sister Zifeng quickly gently rubbed the eggshell and said softly, You're not afraid, it's okay, I'm here. Chen Yao was somewhat surprised. I don't know why, he always feels like Zifeng's sister has treated herself like a pet. Working hard to feel his current body, Chen Yao felt like he had scales. And I seem to be curled up with my body. Wipe. I can't be a fish, can I? Chen Yao tried hard to recall his poor biological knowledge, wanting to recall what kind of fish had scales on their bodies and were still laying eggs. Is it a whale? Not right. In my impression, whales have no scales. Is it a snake? It's not right either. I can feel that I have limbs, which indicates that I should be a mammal. In a moment, Chen Yao was completely confused. Sister Zifeng is teasing the egg in front of her. The agent behind me walked over. Zifeng, please be careful not to bring everything back in the future. In the eyes of the agent, Sister Zifeng said, what if this thing has a virus? I see, Sister you don't need to be so careful. Zifeng's younger sister said in surprise, I don't think it should be. Be careful and make no major mistakes. The agent smiled bitterly and said, you are already under a lot of scrutiny right now. What should we do if it gets out? Sister Zifeng remained silent. She did bear a lot of blame for the exposure of her relationship, which is also why she is in a bad mood and wants to have a pet. Alright, let's take care of it for now. Seeing Zifeng's sister's gloomy expression, the agent said, as long as it's not protecting animals, if you like it, keep it. After all, in such a place, there won't be any nationally protected animals, so no one takes it seriously. It's probably just some kind of animal. As long as there is no danger, there is no problem raising it. Chen Yao was hiding inside the eggshell, listening to Zifeng's sister arguing for him, and his mood was quite good. The feeling of being valued is really good. Sister Zifeng was quickly called away by her agent. And Chen Yao lay in his own nest, still striving to feel his body in the darkness. There are scales, limbs, and there seem to be horns on the head, which makes it uncomfortable to bear the eggshell. Chen Yao silently guessed. Did you become a lizard yourself? If that's the case, maybe I'll really become Zifeng's sister's pet. Because he has read a book that says there are over 3,000 species of lizards in the world, but there are only 3 that truly belong to protected animals. Specifically, Chen Yao doesn't remember the level of protected animals. But except for these 3 types of lizards, the remaining lizards are not protected animals. If that's the case, I'll have to be by Zifeng's sister's side every day. Just thinking about this. Chen Yao was actually a bit worried. Speaking of it. If there is a choice between being a pet and being a protected animal, he will definitely not hesitate to choose the latter. After all, pets live their lives according to their owner's mood. If it comes to protecting animals, there are wildlife reserves. Especially cherishing and protecting animals, there are dedicated personnel to take care of them. Compared to those animals that are left to fend for themselves in the wild, happiness is simply not worth it. So, Chen Yao really hopes to be a protected animal, at least there must be a dedicated animal protection area. P.S. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking rewards, seeking monthly ticket support. Guaranteed 5 changes, 2,000 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 10 monthly tickets plus 1 change, and a reward of 100 book coins plus 1 change. Please support everyone. Chapter 3. Chen Yao Emerging from the Shell. 3. Seeking Freshness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I don't know how long time has passed. Chen Yao felt that his claws seemed to have some strength. He knocked on the eggshell in front of him. Click, click. The eggshell made a crisp sound. If someone is outside, they can clearly see that the egg that was originally placed on the ground has started to crack on the eggshell. And it started to shake. In fact, Chen Yao is already exhausted. He felt as if his body was about to be emptied. Finally, accompanied by his tapping, the eggshell finally cracked open. With a splash, Chen Yao felt his body light and suddenly rumbled to the ground, landing on all 4s. Lying there, looking at his limbs that looked like chicken feet, Chen Yao couldn't help but ask a question mark. What kind of thing did I turn into? Did it become a turtle? After shaking for a moment, Chen Yao finally flipped over and lay on the ground. Without a turtle shell on his back, it seems that he is not a little rascal. A big stone fell to the ground in Chen Yao's heart, and he instinctively shook his tail. How cute. Just then, a voice rang out. Originally, Zifeng's younger sister had already arrived at the door upon hearing the commotion just now. Following her were teacher He, Peng Peng, and others. Just right. She saw the scene of Chen Yao wagging his tail. Looking at the animal in front of her, which was only the size of a newborn puppy, her love overflowed in an instant. Without saying a word, he walked over directly and reached out his hand to pick up Chen Yao. Oh, Zifeng, be careful not to bite you. Teacher, he said with concern. It's okay. Sister Zifeng, however, was not worried at all. Instead, she looked at Teacher He and said, Teacher He, what kind of animal is this? Do you know it? Teacher. He looked up and down at Chen Yao's appearance, but shook his head helplessly. On Chen Yao's side, he also opened his eyes and started to face the world. Because being held by Zifeng's younger sister, he knew nothing except for having limbs and a tail. To be honest, his pitiful knowledge of biology has long been returned to the teacher. Even if you let him see now, he doesn't know what he has become. So, he is hoping to get some useful news from teacher he. This is also the first time I have seen this kind of creature. Teacher. He scrutinized Chen Yao for a while before finally shaking his head and saying, Zifeng, you better be careful not to let it bite. Peng Peng was worried and said to Sister Zifeng, how cute it is, I don't think it will bite people. However, Zifeng's younger sister didn't take it seriously and looked at Chen Yao in her arms with a smile, saying, look, it still has horns. It doesn't seem big, and as it grows up, it will probably come out. Yeah, this guy actually has a beard. Yixing on the side also looked at Chen Yao and said with a smile. Beard. Chen Yao was dumbfounded. Aren't you just born? Why do you still have a beard? Thinking back on the information he had learned now, Chen Yao felt a bit flustered. A certain type of reptile with scales, beard, tentacles, limbs, and tail in the future. Are you really some kind of lizard? Or is it some kind of crocodile? What exactly am I? Chen Yao silently shouted in his heart. You don't even know teacher he, why don't we go ask teacher Huang? Sister Zifeng thought for a moment and said to everyone. Huang Xiaochef is the most knowledgeable person among the people she knows, a true cultural figure who understands the past and the present. They don't know this little animal, maybe Huang Xiaochu knows. Teacher Huang went to the program team to talk about things. Teacher, he said helplessly. Today is the first episode of the program. After filming the scene of everyone going to the beach, we are now resting. As one of the core members of the program, Huang Xiaochu was called away by producer Zhang Hongxi and director Wang Zhenyu. Otherwise, take a photo and post it on Weibo. Yixing thought for a moment and said, maybe some of the netizens can recognize what kind of animal this is. Today's internet, especially microblog, is really a crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Perhaps there is some great deity present. Seeing this photo, recognize what this little animal is. Upon hearing this, Zifeng's younger sister immediately became interested and decided to let go of Chen Yao in her arms, taking a cute photo of him. Then, she posted the photo on her Weibo account. And it also comes with a simple explanation. Actor Zifeng. I found an egg at the beach and hatched a strange little guy. I've never seen him before. Who knows what this is? P.S. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking rewards, seeking monthly ticket support. Guaranteed 5 changes, 2,000 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 10 monthly tickets plus 1 change, and a reward of 100 book coins plus 1 change. Please support everyone. Chapter 4. This photo is definitely P4, find. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Weibo. Gao Yi is a paparazzi who runs around entertaining news and makes a living. Zhou Wenbin is his eldest disciple and also his most proud disciple. The highlight of the two individuals was when news of a male actor's infidelity was once exposed. Today he is browsing Weibo. Suddenly saw the Weibo account that Zifeng's sister had just updated. Master, look at this animal. It's a bit interesting. Zhou Wenbin said to Gao Yi. Upon hearing this, Gao Yi, holding a teacup, smiled at the photo and said, Aben, where did you find this photo? Isn't this a dragon? Zifeng, she just posted on Weibo that she picked up an egg and hatched such an animal. Zhou Wenbin explained to Gao Yi. It's probably a prank. Gao Yi pursed his lips and said, this maple is also corrupt now because there are too many negative news about his relationship exposure, which is why he is so boring. Look at this picture, his mouth is like a horse, his eyes are like crabs, his ears are like cows, his scales are like carp, and his body is like a snake. Isn't this a picture of a dragon? So, it's quite similar. Zhou Wenbin nodded and said. It's not like, it's like. Gao Yi said proudly, look at its claws. They look like eagles, just like the dragons in the book. This is just a picture made according to the information on the internet. Okay, this thing looks quite real. Zhou Wenbin sighed and said. Normal. Gao Yi shrugged and said, the record of dragons has been around for many years. Nowadays, science and technology are so advanced. It's just a photo, and every minute I can make it lifelike for you. Watching those movies and TV dramas is so real. That's right. Gao Yi's words made Zhou Wenbin nod. It has to be said. Master is still very insightful. Aubin, you don't really believe in creatures like dragons in this world, do you? Seeing the apprentice still looking at the photo with a lingering interest, Gao Yi smiled and asked. I feel like there is still some. After hesitating for a moment, Zhou Wenbin said to Gao Yi, you said that we claim to be descendants of dragons. There must be a source for this, right? Even if it's totem worship, our ancestors must have seen dragons. Why else would we imagine this image? Gao Yi was taken aback. After a moment of silence, he nodded and said, that's right, but it's been many years now. If there were really dragons, they would have been extinct long ago. You're absolutely right. Zhou Wenbin laughed and said, if it were a real dragon, those paleontologists would probably go crazy. Experts in ancient biology. Gao Yibai glanced at him and said, let me put it this way, the name of the national treasure probably needs to give way to the panda. Upon hearing his words, Zhou Wenbin was taken aback and then burst into laughter. He knows. What Gao Yi said is really the truth. Although giant pandas have always been known as national treasures, their cute and adorable appearance is endearing. But compared to dragons, their status in the hearts of Chinese people cannot be compared. Don't forget. We claim to be descendants of Yan and Huang, descendants of dragons. The historical status of dragons in the entire country is simply supreme. Countless myths and legends are nothing more, even emperors claim to be descendants of dragons. During the feudal dynasty, no one except the imperial relatives had the right to embroider dragons on clothes. Even in modern times. It's the same. Because the dragon, as the totem of the entire Yan and Huang ethnic group, its importance has long been ingrained in the bone marrow. Just all along. Dragons only exist in legends, and no one has ever seen a living dragon with their own eyes. So no matter how much we like it, we can only categorize it into creatures in myths and legends. To put it bluntly. Without physical objects, dragons can only exist as spiritual totems of our nation. And the national treasure can only be the precious but not yet extinct giant panda. But, as Gao Yi said, if this is really a dragon, it's not surprising that the whole country will be boiling, whether it's experts, professors, or ordinary people, they will all worship this dragon crazily. Because this means that the title of the descendant of our descendants of Yan and Huang, the dragon, is not boasting or indulging in debauchery, but truly exists. Think of it here. Zhou Wenbin glanced at Zifeng's sister's Weibo again, shook his head, and silently sighed in his heart. Unfortunately. If only this were a real dragon. P.S. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking rewards, seeking monthly ticket support. Guaranteed 5 changes, 2,000 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 10 monthly tickets plus 1 change, and a reward of 100 book coins plus 1 change. Please support everyone. Chapter 5. Today is not April Fool's Day. 5. Seeking Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In fact, not only Zhou Wenbin and Gao Yi are discussing this Weibo post about Zifeng's sister. Countless netizens are actually discussing it hotly. After all, Zifeng's younger sister also has millions of followers on Weibo. And she's not the kind of person who often posts on Weibo. At this moment, the comments below that photo have exceeded 10,000. What is the situation? This thing is so ugly. Yeah, it feels strange. To be honest, even when you treat me as a pet, I find it ugly. Sister Zifeng is just too kind. How do I feel? This thing looks like a dragon. Huh, stop making trouble. How could it be? I don't believe it. Dragon. Don't waste our totem, this thing can't even be dragons. Maybe the photos are all synthetic. Yes, today is April Fool's Day. Wipe, can't you? Sister Zifeng is so boring. I understand, this is an April Fool's Day joke. Isn't it interesting anymore? Using such things to fool people, I found that Zifeng has really let himself go now. If it's really a dragon, I'll eat the broadcast and the flight. Count me in. It has to be said. Most people have a strong liking for dragons. That's why. They only felt extremely absurd when they saw the photo posted by Zifeng. How could there be living dragons in this world? If there really is, what do those experts and satellites do for so many years? That's a dragon. Soaring in the clouds and mist, a dragon calling for wind and rain. Can you say that? Does the mythological era in legend really exist? How could it be? Believe in science. Netizens have left messages on Zifeng's sister's Weibo and told her that this April Fool's Day joke is not funny at all. Mushroom House. Looking at the reply on her phone, Sister Zifeng was about to cry in anger. These people are also too hateful. Even though they are telling the truth, why don't they believe them? How could they say that? Sister Zifeng looked pitifully at Teacher He and said, Teacher He, I didn't deceive anyone. This. Teacher He looked at Sister Zifeng with heartache in his eyes. But the problem is. As netizens have said, this little guy is really ugly, and today is April Fool's Day. So no matter what Sister Zifeng said, everyone thought she was joking. Even if she were to shoot a video now, netizens would probably think she was pranking everyone. Zifeng, forget it. Teacher He thought for a moment and said to Zifeng, don't worry about the negative comments on the internet. You should raise the little guy first. If you grow up a bit, you should be able to see what kind of animal he is. Newborn small animals do have some strange shapes, maybe they are an ancient species. In Teacher He's opinion, as long as the little one grows up, perhaps they can see it. Upon hearing this, Sister Zifeng nodded and walked up to Chen Yao, bending down to pick him up. Little one, you can follow your sister from now on. The girl said softly to Chen Yao, don't worry, my sister will definitely treat you well. Looking at her slightly red eyes just now due to anxiety, Chen Yao's heart was moved. He doesn't know what species he is. But no matter what. Sister Zifeng did not despise herself, nor did she give up on herself because she was thin and ugly. Based on this point, it made Chen Yao feel incredibly warm. He was an orphan in his past life, and even in the final moments of his life, he still did not feel any warmth in this world. Eating alone. Sleeping alone. Working alone. Wake up alone. And now. He could feel that Zifeng really liked him. At this moment, Chen Yao's heart was instantly melted. He opened his mouth and said to Zifeng's sister, thank you, Zifeng. But he forgot that he was just a small animal now. The sound just now, heard by Zifeng and others, was the helpless cry of a newborn small animal. Sister Zifeng quickly patted Chen Yao's head and said in a doting tone, be good, don't be afraid. Sister is here. Chen Yao wanted to cry without tears. This Nima. I just made that voice, like a pet, so shameful. P.S. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking rewards, seeking monthly ticket support. Guaranteed 5 changes, 2,000 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 10 monthly tickets plus 1 change, and a reward of 100 book coins plus 1 change. Please support everyone. Chapter 6 Chen Yao. Do I eat meat or am I a vegetarian? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. When Huang Xiaoqiu returned to the mushroom house, it was already half an hour later. As soon as he entered the yard, he saw a strange creature lying on the table in the middle of the yard. What is this thing? Huang Xiaoqiu instinctively let out a roar. Chen Yao, who was lying there sunbathing lazily, looked up at the middle-aged man with a big belly, but was too lazy to pay attention to him. She's not a pretty girl, she really doesn't have much to look at. Say it again. You're the one. Your whole family is nothing. Chen Yao roasted about Chef Huang in his heart, happily changing the direction and continuing to absorb the sunshine. I don't know why, but he really enjoys sunbathing. Zifeng and his sister went to the beach to take photos, so they decided to leave Chen Yao in the mushroom house and let him sunbathe on the table. Teacher Huang, this is an egg picked up by Zifeng. At this point, a staff member came over to explain to Huang Xiaoqiu. Eggs. Huang Xiaoqiu was dumbfounded. As he approached Chen Yao, Huang Xiaochef carefully scrutinized him up and down before finally rubbing his chin and muttering to himself, this thing looks a bit familiar to me. Chen Yao was taken aback. Does he know himself? Think of this. Chen Yao lifted his head and happily called out to Huang Xiaoqiu. A little thought that Huang Xiaoqiu had just had was instantly interrupted. Forget it, it's probably some weird wild animal. Upon hearing Chen Yao's cry, Huang Xiaoqiu decisively gave up thinking and waved his hand to the staff, saying, make him a nest. Since he is a new guest of our mushroom house, we need a home. Yo. Upon hearing these few words, Chen Yao was immediately in a great mood. Although Huang Xiaochef doesn't look very good and is a bit greasy, his heart is quite good. Zifeng's younger sister really likes herself and wants to live with her. But Chen Yao always feels a bit awkward. Speaking of it. In his past life, he was a person with very traditional ideas and had always been very upright. Even if he becomes an animal in this life, he still feels a bit uncomfortable living with a girl. Soon. The staff really made a nest for Chen Yao. A small wooden house, resembling a computer desk, is hollow inside with a blanket, a plate, and a water cup. Not bad. Chen Yao glanced at it, but didn't crawl towards it at all. The leisurely activity of sunbathing is not allowed to be interrupted. Is this little guy a vegetarian or a meat eater? Huang Xiaoqiu thought of something and asked the staff. I really don't know about this. The staff member smiled bitterly and said, it was Sister Zifeng who picked it up. They went to shoot outdoor scenes and will be back soon. Okay. Huang Xiaoqiu nodded. At this moment, a commotion came from the door. As expected. It was Zifeng and her sister who finished their outdoor shooting and returned to the mushroom house. Little one, sister is back. Accompanied by Zifeng's excited voice, she ran all the way to Chen Yao. Look at the fish my sister brought you. Sister Zifeng raised a lively fish in front of Chen Yao. What? What? Chen Yao had a bewildered expression on his face. Lying trough. What does this mean? Let me eat it raw. At this moment, he finally panicked. Because he didn't know what kind of animal he was, Chen Yao Zhen didn't know whether he should eat this fish or not. Eating or not eating? This is a question. Chen Yao, with a bewildered expression, looked at the fish in front of him and fell into deep self-doubt. Why doesn't the little one eat it? At this point, Sister Zifeng looked at Chen Yao strangely and said, is this little guy a vegetarian? It's really possible. Peng Peng rubbed his chin and said, I see many animals are vegetarians. They eat grass or something, such as goats. You are the goat, your whole family is a goat. Chen Yao suddenly looked angrily at Peng Peng. But in his current state, even with his eyes wide open, he still gives a silly and adorable feeling, causing a burst of laughter from the crowd. So, after a moment, a small handful of green grass was placed in front of Chen Yao. Nima. Looking at the green grass and fresh fish, Chen Yao was really confused. P.S. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking rewards, seeking monthly ticket support. Guaranteed 5 changes, 2,000 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 10 monthly tickets plus 1 change, and a reward of 100 book coins plus 1 change. Please support everyone. Chapter 7. This is the new family of the Mushroom House. 7. Please. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chen Yao lay there, his gaze spinning back and forth between the green grass and the fresh fish. He hesitated. When Huang Xiaochef and others saw this scene, they couldn't help but laugh. Wait. At this point, Director Wang Zhengyu suddenly stood up. I think the little one can participate in our filming. Wang Zhengyu said to the crowd. Is that okay? Sister Zifeng was somewhat surprised. Huang Xiaochu and teacher he exchanged a glance before nodding and saying in unison, I think it's possible. Although this little guy is not very good looking, it can even be said to be a bit strange. But after all, it was picked up by Sister Zifeng herself. And it was born in a mushroom house, which also has extraordinary significance. What's his name then? Peng Peng said curiously on the side. This can allow the audience to give him a name. Teacher he smiled and said, I think it must be very interesting. Little one, did you hear that? You're going to become a member of the mushroom house in the future. Sister Zifeng walked up to Chen Yao and gently rubbed his head, saying softly. Oh. Chen Yao could naturally hear them, but he didn't feel much. It's not a big deal in itself. Take it as it comes. Nowadays, my body cannot even hunt. Since someone is willing to take care of me, he certainly won't refuse. As for the new members of the mushroom house. Jokes. Just a group of servants. Chen Yao lifted his head proudly and rubbed against Zifeng's sister's palm. Huh, he's so good. Sister Zifeng smiled happily. Soon. The camera is turned on. The program officially began live streaming. Hello everyone, audience friends. Teacher he stood in front of the camera and smiled at the audience in the live broadcast room, saying, Today, I will introduce the new members of our mushroom this season. What? Although word-of-mouth has declined and ratings have decreased, there are still many loyal viewers who aspire to it. At this moment, there are up to 3 million viewers online in the live broadcast room. Upon hearing Teacher He's words, everyone was stunned. Sleeping slot. What is the situation? Looking forward to adding more guests this season. I didn't hear about it before. What's going on? Did it happen suddenly? Could it be Lu Haoren? No, Haoren's younger brother took on another variety show. What's the situation, adding someone inexplicably? Dehua won't be coming back, will he? Impossible, they have a Korean variety show to attend, how could they possibly come back? Can it be that the production team is causing trouble again? I can't say for sure. On the barrage of the live broadcast room, the audience was discussing one after another. It's obvious. They find it difficult to accept the addition of new members to the program team. Teacher he looked at the news on the barrage and laughed directly. Don't misunderstand, everyone. Looking at the barrage, Teacher he quickly explained, our new member is not humans, but it. Speaking. He moved away from the camera and Chen Yao's figure appeared in it. Hello everyone, this is the little guy I picked up today. Sister Zifeng stood next to Chen Yao and introduced to the audience, this little guy was originally an egg. I believe many viewers apologized and should have seen it. In the afternoon, the little guy broke the eggshell and finally hatched. Although it wasn't very good looking, and we don't know what kind of animal it is now, everyone still decided to make it a new member of our mushroom house this season. Yes. At this moment, Huang Xiaochu continued, this little guy was born in the mushroom house. For all of us, it is a kind of fate. With this layer of fate, we also hope that it can grow together with our 6th season's aspirations. So, starting from today, we have added a new member to our mushroom house. Teacher, he smiled and said to the audience. And accompanied by everyone's cheers. Chen Yao rolled his eyes and lazily moved his body to a different position, allowing the sunlight to shine on him. So comfortable. What kind of family, you are all my servants. P.S. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking rewards, seeking monthly ticket support. Guaranteed 5 changes, 2,000 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 10 monthly tickets plus 1 change, and a reward of 100 book coins plus 1 change. Please support everyone. Chapter 8. You are the herbivorous animal. 8. Seeking freshness. You are listening at novel full.audio. Chen Yao's movements naturally caught the attention of the audience. Especially when he dodged the place where Huang Xiaochef was blocking him, and changed to a place where he could continue to bask in the sun, everyone was stunned. The barrage immediately became lively. Well, this little guy is so clever. Did you see that he actually searches for sunlight on his own? Haha, this lazy look seems like me. Isn't this too cute? I like it. It's really interesting. But it's so ugly. Yeah, although I can't tell what animal it is, it's a bit ugly. It's normal, right? The newborn child is also very ugly. You guys are so boring. They're just a little animal, yet you still despise them for being ugly. They might even despise you. That's right. From the perspective of animals, humans are really ugly. Don't really say it. Because of Chen Yao's small move, the popularity of the live broadcast room has become increasingly high. The news on the barrage was naturally seen by Teacher He and others. They looked at the table behind them and suddenly realized that the little guy had really changed his posture. Well, this little guy is so smart. Peng Peng sighed sincerely. Yeah, I can actually adjust my direction on my own. Yixing also nodded and said. Maybe this. On the contrary, teacher, he said rationally, it may be the instinct of animals. Chen Yaowen gave him a disdainful glance and rolled his eyes. Stupid humans. Give you a look and experience it yourself. By the way, it doesn't have a name yet. Our program's official Weibo account will open a voting activity in the next few days. Please choose a name for it. Huang Xiaochu remembered something and said to the audience. This is something that the program team has agreed upon. The main purpose is to motivate the audience. After all, if everyone can actively participate in the program, they will naturally watch it. This is called empathy. As expected. Upon hearing Huang Xiaochu's words, the barrage in the live broadcast room was once again lively. Many people simply post the names they come up with. Various names, such as ugly and clever, have emerged one after another. The most outrageous thing is that someone named Chen Yao 50 degrees gray. When Peng Peng finished reading this barrage, Chen Yao became a tea queen. He really wants to sing that guy a song. Let me say thank you. What an international joke. Do you really think you haven't watched a movie and don't know what 50-degree gray is? Well, let's first consider what the little one should eat. At this point, Yixing approached Chen Yao and looked at him, saying. After his reminder, everyone finally remembered. This little guy has never eaten anything since he was born. So, green grass and fresh fish were once again placed in front of Chen Yao. And this time, there are also several cameras shooting him at 360 degrees without dead angles. Additionally, there are also nearly 3 million viewers watching in the live broadcast room. They are all very curious. Is this seemingly ugly little guy a vegetarian or a carnivorous animal? But, to everyone's surprise, Chen Yao just glanced lightly, but didn't make any movement at all. What does this mean? Everyone looked at each other in confusion. Is it difficult for him to distinguish between these two types of food? Peng Peng boldly guessed, I don't know which one I can eat and which one I can't eat. Right. I see many small animals that have to learn to distinguish food slowly. Yixing chimed in beside him. Chen Yao looked at his excited appearance, and was too lazy to roast about him. Do you really think I don't know about you being scammed into eating grass back then? Think of it here. Chen Yao lazily glanced at Yixing without a hint of smoke, slowly lifting his paws and pushing the pile of green grass towards Yixing's direction. Lying trough. Everyone who saw this scene was dumbfounded. The barrage in the live broadcast room exploded instantly. Ha ha ha. Sleeping slot. What strange animal is this? Isn't this too smart? So, did he choose meat? I think he seems to be disdaining Yixing. Laughed to death, pushed the grass to Yixing. Does it know that Yixing is called a little sheep? Yixing's whole person is not doing well. Poor our family, even a small animal looks down on him. P.S. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking rewards, seeking monthly ticket support. Guaranteed 5 changes, 2,000 flowers plus 1 change, 100 review tickets plus 1 change, 10 monthly tickets plus 1 change, and a reward of 100 book coins plus 1 change. Please support everyone. Chapter 9. Only fools eat raw meat. 1. Seeking a fresh flower comment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yixing was stunned. He never expected it. I was actually looked down upon by a newborn little animal. That's right. He could clearly feel the contempt in the little one's eyes. Combined with the green grass placed in front of him, Yixing suddenly felt a sense of social death. Chen Yao was too lazy to pay attention to this guy. Although the grass gave him joy, he would never choose to eat that fish. Although he appears to be an animal, his inner self is still a human. What kind of sashimi to eat, not Japanese devils? Think of it here. Chen Yao's gaze swept over several people. Originally, he wanted to push the fish to them, but after thinking about it, he realized that his actions were a bit shocking. Therefore, he decided to close his eyes and continue sunbathing. Anyway, it's a newborn small animal, so it makes sense to do anything. Seeing this scene, the group of people in the mushroom looked at each other, and in the end, it was Huang Xiao Chef who took the lead and said, maybe, little guy doesn't like to eat fish, he likes to eat raw meat. It's possible. Yes, maybe it's a carnivorous animal. Right. A few people discussed happily there. Upon hearing their words, Chen Yao was speechless. What a group of foolish humans. My brain doesn't even know how to turn. Fools only eat raw meat. Forget it. He's too lazy to argue with these people. After chatting for a while and seeing that Chen Yao had not moved, they had no choice but to continue with their respective tasks. Today, a guest is coming, and they still need to shoot. On Chen Yao's side, he basked in the sun for a while and let the warm sunlight caress him, feeling incredibly comfortable. He even felt that it would be a good thing if he continued to expose it like this. I don't know how long it has been. Chen Yao fell asleep in a daze. He had a dream. Dreaming of having a big meal. But speaking of it. Perhaps due to dreaming, no matter how much he ate this big meal, he couldn't eat enough. I don't know how long it has been. Chen Yao was awakened by a commotion. Following the direction of the sound, he saw a group of people not far away. Sister Zifeng and her 2 young people were standing together, with Lu Haran as the male and Wen Qi as the female. And he himself was lifted off the table and placed in a nest on the ground. The fish has died, but it is still on the plate in front of me. Fool! Chen Yao murmured silently in his heart. Subsequently, he smelled a fragrance. Looking up, I saw Huang Xiaochu busy in the kitchen. With a blink of an eye, Chen Yao got up, picked up the fish in his mouth, and walked step by step towards the kitchen. He didn't notice that several cameras were already aimed at him not far from him. In the eyes of the audience in the live broadcast room, the cute little guy, although somewhat ugly, woke up from his sleep, looked around, and finally turned his gaze to the kitchen. Then he got up, picked up the fish, and walked unsteadily towards the kitchen. The silly and cute appearance really makes people want to laugh out loud. The barrage in the live broadcast room immediately became lively. Oh my, little one woke up. So cute. What is it doing? It feels like I'm planning to go to the kitchen. Wouldn't it be the aroma of Teacher Huang's cooking that attracted me? It's possible. Has Mr. Huang's cooking skills finally transcended race and influenced the animal kingdom? I feel like I'm hungry, go to the kitchen to find something to eat. Ha ha ha. Shentima crosses races. But this little guy looks so cute. Although he's a bit ugly, he's really cute. Yeah, especially with 4 paws walking on the ground, swaying and looking like a child. You should know. The word Meng is very difficult for humans to resist. No matter who you are, when you encounter something cute, you will always feel like it. Just like now. As the cute little guy walked towards the kitchen with a fish in his mouth, the audience immediately became interested. What does it want to do? For a moment, everyone became curious. And on Chen Yao's side, his behavior left everyone puzzled. Because after walking into the kitchen with the fish in his mouth, he did not go looking for anything to eat as everyone had guessed. But he went straight to Huang Xiao chef, who was cooking. Oh, the little one is awake. Huang Xiaochu was stir-frying when he lowered his head and saw Chen Yao. He smiled and said, "You brought the fish, what's wrong? Let me cut it for you." He thought this little guy was here to cut fish for himself. But the next second, Chen Yao's action made everyone dumbfounded. P.S. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking rewards, seeking monthly ticket support. Chapter 10. Roast Fish Little Expert. 2. Seeking Flower Reviews. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Under the gaze of millions of people in the live broadcast room. Chen Yao did not hand over the fish to Huang Xiao chef, but shook his head and threw it onto the fire in the stove. Lying trough. Seeing this scene, countless people blurted out a line of national essence. No one expected it. How could this little guy do this? Oh my! Huang Xiaochu exclaimed in surprise and quickly lowered his head to prepare to take out the fish. As soon as he reached out to hold the firewood clip in his hand, Chen Yao's small body lifted a paw and pushed Huang Xiaochu's clip aside. What? What? Huang Xiaochu was stunned. Don't talk about him. The audience in the live broadcast room were also dumbfounded at this moment. Sleeping slot. What does this mean? Don't tell me, this little one was intentional. He wants to eat grilled fish. Oh my goodness. This is a monster, it's so amazing. Are you a bit brainy upstairs? Many animals' intelligence is actually equivalent to that of a few months or even a few years old human child. Yes, not all animals are fools. Don't make them look too foolish, okay? Okay, I'm ignorant now. This little guy is so smart, he actually wants to eat grilled fish. Ha ha ha, Teacher Huang is already dumbfounded. What should I do? My pet needs to eat grilled fish, wait online, it's quite urgent. The barrage was so lively that many people even took screenshots of the video and prepared to post it on Weibo. To be honest, it's not strange to raise small animals in the program. But such smart little animals are very rare. Whether this little guy is trained or born like this behavior is very interesting. This point. Everyone knows it well. I no longer yearn for the current heat, I need such a scene. Mushroom House. Chen Yao certainly didn't know that his behavior had already shocked many people. But even if he knew, he wouldn't care. Although he has become an animal, Chen Yao will never eat any raw food. He wants to eat cooked food. His paw scratched on the fire and flipped the fish over. Chen Yao suddenly noticed something, and he realized that his paw was not afraid of being roasted. The temperature of the flames in the stove was not low, but when I reached in with my paws, I couldn't feel any temperature at all. It's a bit interesting. I was a bit surprised in my heart. Chen Yao's first reaction was that in the future, wouldn't he be able to barbecue and eat meat casually? You little one. At this point, Huang Xiaochu's helpless voice rang out. He watched Chen Yao pulling at the fish there, his mouth twitching. This Nima. Having wandered in the martial arts world for many years, Huang Xiaochef encountered such a strange creature for the first time. However, it's quite interesting to say. Watching it clumsily trying to grill fish there, Huang Xiaochu suddenly felt that this might be a highlight that the program needs. Think of it here. He smiled and said to Chen Yao, "Come on, little one, please beg me, and I'll help you roast the fish." Idiot. Chen Yao rolled his eyes. He was too lazy to roast about his boring behavior. Human beings always like to do things that are useless but seem foolish, which comes from my intoxication. To be honest, I didn't feel much before. As an animal now, Chen Yao suddenly realized that it is very interesting to observe the world from such a perspective. Seeing that Chen Yao ignored him, Huang Xiaochu was not angry. He suddenly had an idea and took out a small plate, on which he put some pieces of twice-cooked pork that he had cooked for everyone. On second thought, he brought some pieces of raw meat and covered them with twice-cooked pork. "Little one, come and eat this." Huang Xiaochu pointed to the plate and said to Chen Yao. Idiot. I once again expressed disdain for Huang Xiaochu's behavior in my heart. Chen Yao finally couldn't control his hunger and walked towards the plate of meat. And at this point, the audience in the live broadcast room also focused on watching. They are very curious. How would this little guy choose between raw meat and cooked food? Even though we know that the intelligence of animals is not that high, for some reason, everyone is still full of expectations for this little guy. P.S. If the flowers can reach 5,000 today, or if the evaluation ticket reaches 300, even if it is 10, they will be given away. If the monthly pass can reach 20, or there is a reward of 100 book coins, it will also be 10 more. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking rewards, seeking monthly ticket support. Longing for old authors, quality is absolutely guaranteed.